Hello and welcome to the Redmen TV. Thank you very much for joining me. I will be showcasing a good segment of us talking on the Reds transfer roundup about strikers and our options moving into next season, whether Liverpool should be in the market for it. Before that, this show is sponsored by the Hold the L podcast. So have a little look at this. It depends what Southgate wants to do, to be honest with you, because, you know, the rumours are that he feels that the centre of defence is dead weak and he wants to play a third player in the back there. I just don't see that that's a good thing when we've been playing 4-3-3 throughout most of these friendlies. I think, you know, a lot of the lads, not all the players play 4-3-3 at the back anyway in their normal sort of club games and stuff. So I think you've got to play what's best for the players, and the players have been playing 4-3-3. If it's just a straight back four, I'd go with Kyle Walker, because I don't think he makes as many mistakes as people think anymore. I think he's got that experience. He's 31 years old now. He's won pretty much everything, but obviously the Champions League. And I think he's a good player, and I don't understand it when people think that he's bad. He's got recovery pace, he's got a little bit going forwards as well, he can join the attack. But if he was to play a three at the back, I'd probably play Reece James as the right wing back, because I don't think Kyle Walker's as good as Reece James in that position. So for me, you know, I think the one thing this squad is lacking is experience, and so because of that, I think Walker's age and his experience helps the rest of the squad. Yeah, really good show. Obviously, we're talking about the right-back situation there. I'm sure Liverpool fans are going to be like, what, Kyle Walker, mate? I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. I think England need experience, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not a massive England fan. I will watch the games, of course. I'm looking forward to the Scotland games more. But I think it's fair to say that you can have an opinion on England as well. And for me, I think, you know, it was a really interesting show. Actually hearing Nini talk about Mason Mount and stuff like that, and DT making some talk about Grealish was quite interesting and stuff like that. Obviously players that, you know, I admire and think are really good footballers and stuff. But yeah, it's a really good show, so go and check that out. The whole series has been absolutely brilliant, and, you know, it's quite timely, I suppose. So, but there are a few episodes that you can go and delve into. But without further ado, here is us talking about Liverpool strikers' options moving into next season. Well, let's have a little talk about the forwards then, and I'll start with you on this one, Ross. First of all, I mean, there's been quite a few links to Rafinha from Leeds. Obviously, a really exciting player. Is this an area of the field that you're prioritising?
Not currently, no. I think, you know, I think a backup right back, because I'm not still 100% sure on Nico, and obviously Trent's injured right now. You know, that does concern me about going into next season. The midfield we've already spoken about, but the forwards, you know, you've got four there, which, you know, won't be running to the ground. Jota won't be getting played in the game, doesn't matter, and getting fucking injured for a start. So he's going to be available for a bit more. If you need to at a push, I think he needs a Premier League loan, but Harvey Elliott is there. And I think by the looks of things, we'll get rid of Taki. But for me, it's about looking at the bench and going, someone can start. So many times last season, looking at the bench, Ari's there, won't bring him on. Or he might not be on the bench. Chamberlain, Keita, the same. They're there, but they're not going to any use. Shaqiri, they're almost surplus to requirements. They're making up numbers because there's nobody else. We named so many kids last season on the bench because we took them to Champions League games for a fucking laugh because there was no one else. To make up numbers. I want to look at the bench or the squad and go, right, who's starting this week? Okay, Jota needs a rest. I've got Salah, I've got Mane, I've got blah, blah, blah. I think we're fine in that. If we sell players and we make the money to get Rafinha, sound, we'll get a midfielder in first and look at other positions for me.
I tell you what, the forwards thing's really interesting, because I think Origi and Shaqiri haven't been good enough after James. No. They're not getting anywhere near the squad. So you can probably ship the two of them out. I think there'll be bidders for both of them. Might not be as much money as you wanted, and we've been trying to get rid of them for a couple of years, so it might be difficult. But surely if you get rid of both of them, and I guess you get rid of both of them, that you'd actually look to sign somebody with that money.
Yeah, but whether it be, I agree with Ross. Whether it would be somebody up top is another, you know, is another question entirely. You want someone to be competing. You want someone to be pushing Sadio Mane and Firmino. You know, Salah's, you know, in a different league entirely. You know, you don't displace that guy very often. But you know, Jota was a fantastic, exciting buy who came in, hit the ground running. You know, he loves a goal. He's a real threat. That's the kind of player that we need to get in. Someone that's going to challenge these guys, because the drop off that we've currently had. I mean, you look at the bench last season. Ross is right to mention it. You look at the bench last season; it was crap. This was crap. You know, you've got to play Sadio Mane, you've got to play Roberto Firmino, even though they're out of form and having a really miserable period of kind of 3 or 4 months of not really doing a huge amount. And we're all moaning on social media. The pundits are all up and talking about them. You need someone on the bench that's going to actually pressure these guys. Whether it's Raphinha from Leeds, I don't know. Has there been a figure? Has there been a figure banded around?
Is it 15 million that I've heard, or 22 maybe, something like that? It seems low, to be honest with you.
If it's as low as that, I mean, you'd be mad not to throw something at it. I mean, is a really well-liked player. Again, great potential. Something that is really key for our sort of transfer strategy is someone that has got that sell-on ability, can generate money, can grow, can improve. He's someone that could do that. Get him in if that's the price. But at the moment, that's what we really need, is someone that's going to push these lads and compete for actual places, rather than just fill up a squad number at, like Shaqiri and Origi, because it's a nonsense.
I think there also might be a case where I think Liverpool are in a good position, not as much as Man City and Chelsea, but I think there'll be clubs around the league, and Leeds might be one of these, where they might need the money more than others. Now, Liverpool are quite lucky in the sense of, okay, we get massive TV revenue, but we've got a global fan base. There'll be teams within the league whose main source of revenue will be their ticket sales or match day, whatever else. I think Leeds, I'm not saying Leeds aren't a big club, they're huge, but they won't be getting the TV revenue Liverpool are getting. They might be looking at their finances, and £22 million seems fucking ridiculous. Well, they might go, a normal season, they go, no. But they might go, well, actually, we could do with that. They've got areas of their squad to improve or to buy players. I think it'd be a lot of we could help out another club in that sense. Same with Basuma at Brighton. It's fucking loads of money to them. They might fucking snap your hand off for it.
Steve, on the Raphinha stuff, let's link it back to Harvey Elliott, mate, because Ross mentioned him a little while ago. Is this a time where he comes in and makes himself that fifth choice?
I think there's definitely a possibility that can happen. I think he's brilliant. He's different than other teenagers for me in that I think sometimes you get a teenager and you know he's going to take him 4, 5, 6 years before he's anywhere close. And then sometimes you get one and you sign one and you know. I remember speaking to Michael Beale. I went to the academy and sat down with like an hour or so. And it was when we just signed Joe Gomez. And I said, you're going to work with Joe for it? And he was like, no way. He's straight down with Brendan. It was obviously Roger. Like he's bypassed this level. He's way too good for us. And I think Harvey Elliott's very much in that boat where you might get where someone like Curtis Jones has gone step by step. I think Harvey Elliott's almost bypassing. He's gone from Fulham's youth team pretty much, and he's straight away. If he comes back, he's a first team squad player. There's no messing about. He's done amazingly well at Blackburn, so I'd be quite happy if Elliott got the minutes that Shaqiri got. For example, I'd much prefer that in fact. And I'm actually a bigger fan of Shaqiri than I know you guys are. I think he's all right. But I don't think he's anywhere near the level that Liverpool needed him to be. I think I'd have no problem with Elliott maybe being sixth choice. I think fifth might be one too high. I think they will buy a forward actually. But I don't think it'll be a centre forward. I think it'll be someone who can play on the wing as well. Raphinha makes sense. He makes a lot of sense because he ticks a lot of the boxes. The fee, 20 million seems way too low. Leeds would be bonkers to let that happen. But
I might have a little Google of that price.
There's all kinds. No one really knows because I don't think Leeds want to sell him. But then they're being linked to players, and it might be, that he might have clauses. No one knows because it's when Leeds sign someone like Raphinha, you do wonder if an agent would put some type of clauses in there anyway. Because who knows? But Leeds is massive, so I don't think they'd be in any rush. They were trying to spend 25 million on Ben White in the summer, in the middle of the pandemic. I don't think Leeds are unnecessarily cash strapped. But yeah, I think Raphinha would make sense with it. And then if Elliott and Raphinha replace Origi and Shaqiri, you've upgraded there, haven't you? You've upgraded quite significantly. And then the only other one you've got to mention there is what happens to Taki Minamino. Have they just decided now that he's not good enough? Is he just gone? By all accounts, he wasn't great at Southampton. He started well and badly faded. Taki still looks like a player who hasn't got a position. I don't actually know what he is. But if it might be that Jürgen says, right, come back in and you're that option. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. But I agree with what you're saying. You have your main four, you need more behind it than what we had. Because Origi wasn't even making the bench by the last few games of the season. He's gone. He's a non-entity. Shaqiri hardly got a kick. We do need better than what we had last season. I agree.
The interesting thing into this, and I've just Googled it, and according to Gianluigi Longari, it's 40 million that it would be for Rafinha, which makes a lot more sense than the figure that I clearly made up. The two figures that I clearly made up, actually, not just one. I hedged my bet and made two up, apparently. But the big thing is, James, it's I always say this wrong, but it's the African Cup of Nations or the Nation of Cups or whatever they call it. So Mane and Salah are probably going to be going at least a month in the middle of the season again, because I think it's back to the middle of the season this time around. So you can't surely go into this season knowing that those two lads are going to be going for a month, and then therefore at the moment you've got Origi, Shaqiri, Firmino, Harvey Elliott.
Yeah. For
a month. So, do we need to spend big? Jota. I forgot Jota.
We've got Jota. Look, but it's got to be about prioritising. You've got to be prioritising these positions. You're absolutely right to mention Steve mentions the fullback situation. We don't have a decent backup for Trent. We've got James Milner still comes in. That's not going to last forever. The midfield, we're losing Gini Wijnaldum. I just don't see it being a priority, even with the African Cup of Nations. It can't be a priority. I think Harvey Elliott comes back, and I think that's probably the main bit of business that we do up there. And then we see where we are in January.
But you're losing two of your best players for a month.
Yeah, but you knew that when you signed them.
It's like guaranteeing injuries in the middle of the season for your two best players. It's just mental.
Just put the centre backs up there. We've got loads of them now.
Yeah, get Big Nat up there to Big Nat in. Get Trent, the cross merchant that is Trent Alexander-Arnold, to continue doing that. But I mean, it's surely got to be a concern for somebody that these two lads are going, and we're going to have Jota and Firmino, and we need three forwards.
Yeah, now that you mentioned it, yeah. But then again, you talk about the same thing as the backup goalkeeper, giving Rafinha to come in and go, just for January, mate, really. Do you know what I mean? And again, it depends on sales. There was a link this morning which I put in there of Southampton is still interested in keeping Minamino. If there's a way to get him out, or what they do with him, are you raising funds for these things, then you're fine. I think there's also the conversation, if you go big for someone in the front, are you then looking for one of the front three replacements in that sense, which is kind of what Jota was. Depends how they work that out.
Yeah, really, really good show. Obviously, the Reds Transfer Roundup will be weekly on our streaming service, the redmentv.com. We've obviously got the Hendo series, documentary series, episodes 2 and 3, going exclusively out on our streaming service as well. So get over there and subscribe. There's an 18-minute interview with Jurgen Klopp. There's a Kevin Ball interview, Bolo Zenden interview that we released this week as well, with more exclusive interviews and behind the scenes, I suppose, from the documentary going out each and every week over the next few weeks. So loads and loads of content, the biggest content drop we've ever done. And because you've stuck around, here is the teaser trailer for episode 2 of the Hendo doc.
Settled in really quick. You could tell he was a real humble kid.
It was sad, but at the same time, if that's what they wanted to do, then fine.
Jordan Henderson would go to Fulham and Clint Dempsey would come to Liverpool.
Do I think that would have been the right decision? The answer would have been no.
Leaving Liverpool to go to Fulham, you wouldn't go, would you?
It never happened, so that's good.
That was the season when he truly arrived as a Liverpool player.
You just had Hendo that would provide the energy for the team.
We missed him immensely in them final few games, for sure.
You've got some bad news. It's what I thought you had. You've got cancer. Well, I can't remember much after that. Win the league and get every man of the match every week. That's what you need to do.
I think it was the ideal choice.
I couldn't see how they could do anything other than give him the captaincy once he played the way he played.
What a feeling that must have been for Jordan.
I don't see that Jordan changed, because he had the armband.
That whole run-up all the way to Kiev was so good because I think it was unexpected.
I could be a Champions League winner, yeah.
It was a tough night for all of us, for him as well.
It's at times like that when Jordan Henderson really comes to the fore.
We wouldn't be the team that we are today without that game.
I think then it felt like the next time it was going to be ours.